Yesterday, it was officially announced that WrestlePalooza will be taking place on September 20th from Indianapolis, Indiana on the ESPN app. We also have several reports about WWE's streaming deals and what the near future looks like for WWE on the streaming front. And then we're going to hop into some AEW thoughts. We're going to do a little AEW Dynamite recap, which took place last night from the Hydro in Scotland. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really do appreciate your time. Let's hop into this, man. All right, so WWE programming is going to remain on Peacock, but not in the way we remember it. Now, recently, since I'd say 2022, WWE has been running their PLEs, their pay-per-views on Peacock. And they've been doing that for quite some time. However, several weeks ago, it was announced that ESPN will be launching a direct-to-consumer platform and that WWE's PLEs or pay-per-views will be going on that platform. So they've kind of shifted away from Peacock and they're moving to ESPN. Well, today, The Hollywood Reporter reported that WWE programming will remain on Peacock in a different capacity. It says Peacock has worked out a new deal with WWE to include new main roster programming to stream on the NBC Universal Digital platform. Details expected to be announced soon. That is, again, from The Hollywood Reporter. So they are not going to get PLEs. Those are going to ESPN, their direct-to-consumer platform, $30 a month. But they will get some sort of programming. We have more information on what that might be. So the number of annual Saturday Night Main Event shows have been upped by 4. So it's going from 4 to 8 per year. And that comes from the Sports Business Journal. Now, obviously, I said it in the intro. I'm going to say it again. WrestlePalooza is on the ESPN app. Those are 3 reports that all say WWE are dipping their hand in another cookie jar. They're kind of inking another deal with another streamer. And it seems like there's just a lot happening all at once. There's a lot of deals being inked and deals being done. And so I just want to hop into what all this means and kind of the interconnectedness of it all. Let's read between the lines a little bit. There's been rumors / official announcements / reports of a lot of activity around WWE's streaming front. So between the ESPN deal and WWE purposefully upping the amount of needless Saturday Night Main Events pay-per-views, because let's be honest, the Saturday Night Main Event shows that they have been running, they haven't been amazing. And me personally, I think they've been kind of the pit for undesirable wrestling. That's where you get your Logan Pauls. That's where you get Jey Uso singles matches. It's really just the place that WWE puts all the matches that they don't want to put on bigger pay-per-views. That's what Saturday Night's Main Event has turned into. So look, to me, all this activity surrounding WWE's streaming and who they're doing business with and this, that, and the third, all of it has to do, and specifically the Saturday Night Main Event news, all of it has to do with WWE deliberately oversaturating their product with shows they can sell to streamers, streamlining the access to their shows and making it easier for us to consume them by just putting it all on one platform. That doesn't financially benefit them as much as they would like. It benefits them a whole lot more, and in sort of a devious way, that if they were to, let's say, go to 4 different streamers with 4 different shows and sell all of them to different companies, I mean, that benefits them a lot more financially, because would you rather take 4 different shows and bundle them all up into one and sell all of that to one streamer? Or would you rather take all of those shows that you have and deliver them as like separate packages to different streamers? I mean, I think the latter. I think WWE would much rather split them up and deliver them individually to streamers because they get more money that way, right? So that's exactly what they're doing with Saturday Night's Main Event. They are basically taking something that doesn't need to be increased in terms of its quantity. 4 is just fine. In fact, I wouldn't mind if they completely got rid of it. It serves no real purpose. The well has been run dry with that show. But what are they doing? They're upping it to 8 because they see an opportunity to make money, which has honestly been very characteristic of WWE in 2025. I mean, it's been characteristic of them since early Vince days, since like the 80s, but especially now, and it's very reflective of who they are, squeezing the most out of their fans' pockets. So to cap this off, I'm going to talk a little bit about WrestlePalooza. I'm going to say this. If you are at all fed up or disillusioned with the way WWE has not only been running their product, but also their business, then September 20th, in my opinion, that's your chance to tell them, you know what, I'm not going to play along with this. I'm not going to play ball with you guys. I'm going to make my voice heard with my view. So for me, it is the perfect opportunity for fans to maybe not watch WWE that night. I know I'm not. It's going to be going head to head with AEW All Out. And so I know where I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching AEW. Again, it's, for me, the perfect opportunity to make my voice heard. I've been very vocal recently about WWE's practices. They're very tone deaf and careless with the way they communicate to their fans and the way they do business. So I will be taking this opportunity to make my voice heard. I'm going to be watching All Out that night, and I'll probably end up doing a review on it of some sort. I suggest that you make the decision that feels right for you. If you want to watch WWE, that's completely fine. That's up to you. But if you have been disillusioned, if you have been sort of disgruntled with how the recent product has come across and how their business has come across, then September 20th is the perfect opportunity to use your voice. Side note, it wouldn't shock me if SmackDown got some deal with Apple TV or something. Like, it really wouldn't shock me if they shopped SmackDown around as well to try and get the best bang for their buck there too. That would not be out of character for WWE either. Okay, let's hop into AEW Dynamite thoughts. So a little recap from last night. Show opened with Will Ospreay. He cut a very good promo. He sold the Forbidden Door match with Jon Moxley, the Lights Out Steel Cage match, which will see the Death Riders going up against Will Ospreay, Darby Allin, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi, and Kenny Omega. He sold that match really well. It was a very powerful promo. He stood in the ring for about, I want to say 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes. Yeah, he cut a promo basically saying, last week I wasn't cleared, and I'm still not cleared. And so it seemed like a lot of people took that very literally. They took that very out of kayfabe, and they saw that and they were like, well, if this is true, this is very careless on AEW's part, allowing him to wrestle when he's not cleared. But that was the most obvious kayfabe thing I've ever seen. I mean, the match is an unsanctioned match. That's what a lights out match is. And he's injured in kayfabe. I feel like there's a correlation there. And I think it's weird or, kind of just odd that some people would take that out of kayfabe and misinterpret that. For me, that was the most obvious, in kayfabe comment ever. Anyway, very good promo. Jon Moxley came out. We kind of got a bit of a face-off there. I'll say this about Will Ospreay. That guy has one of the absolute best total package presentations in all of wrestling. Between the theme song, between the moveset, and just his general vibe and his babyface sensibilities, his babyface talent, there's so much there to love. There is so much potential for him to be just the quintessential ace, the babyface ace of AEW. And so within the next year, I'd like to see him be crowned world champion. I'm a huge fan of Will Ospreay. I think he is one of the absolute best in the world. Yeah, excited for that lights out match. It was funny. Hiroshi Tanahashi, they made him run out. Obviously, Hiroshi Tanahashi at this point in his career, he's, 49, 50? I'd have to look at that, but he's very old and he's in the final year of his career. This guy can barely jog to the ring. I mean, he's limping when he's jogging. Yeah, he's still one of the, I'd say best 15 wrestlers in the world. I mean, he's fantastic, or maybe top 20. He's tremendous, man. He's so smart, and he has amazing instincts and sensibilities. He just gets everything about wrestling. He's one of the GOATs, in my opinion. So the opening match was between Jet Speed, Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey against the Death Riders. This match was okay. It was fine. It wasn't amazing. It felt like there was kind of you had to get the crowd going a little bit, and once the crowd got into it and got going, the match definitely took a step up, but it was okay. It was okay. Not the most amazing thing I've ever seen, though. Then they ran this post-match angle. Will Ospreay came out with a trash bag or a body bag of some sort. And you're thinking, because before that, Marina Shafir had ran backstage and Will Ospreay followed her. So you're thinking, oh God, he has Marina Shafir in a trash bag. The Death Riders get out of the ring distracted by that. They think Marina Shafir is in there. Turns out she's not. And Darby Allin comes out and he attacks the Death Riders, and we get this huge arena brawl. The Ops come out too, and it ends up being a massive angle, a little brawl there. And I thought it was good. It had good energy, a good atmosphere. Definitely could have been simplified and shortened by a few minutes, but I enjoyed it. A little later, we get Adam Copeland and Christian Cage both in the ring together. Copeland comes out, he cuts a promo, and then he's interrupted by Christian Cage. Christian Cage comes down, and we get a very well done, logically thought out reunion between the two, within the context of Christian's character and within the context of their relationship. You shouldn't have them reconnect and just have it be all peaches and roses. There should be some hiccups, and they shouldn't be exactly on the same page. There should be some buffering there, and I think there is. Christian Cage says, I found myself, but I don't see a reason to change. And so that's the perfect kind of reflection of what this needs to look like. They need to be on the same page enough to work together and tag together. They'll be tagging against Kip Sabian and Killswitch Luchasaurus, which we'll get to that a little bit later, but they'll be tagging together at Forbidden Door, so they need to be on the same page, but you can't have it be too corny. You can't have it be too fake where it's a giant cool reunion between two of the best and they're just magically friends again. That makes no sense. And so I really love the respect to character continuity, kind of the regard for all that. So Nick Wayne shows up on the big Tron above the stage and he says, I have a broken foot, but I'm always one step ahead, Christian. So he is out of Forbidden Door, but who's not out of Forbidden Door is Luchasaurus, aka Kill Switch. He comes down to the ring, makes his presence felt, gets rid of Adam Copeland, and we get a face-off between him and Christian Cage. Obviously some history there. So this was a cool moment. The crowd was pretty psyched to see Luchasaurus again. It's cool to see him. That was a very cool return. Right, the next thing takes us from hour 1 into hour 2. It's FTR versus Brodito. This match was awesome. Awesome. It had, I'd say about 30 to 40% of it was a little bit slower and more methodic, and you got some more character-driven wrestling from FTR. But this was terrific. These four killed it. Stokely is hilarious. Stokely Hathaway. This was one of my favorite tag team matches of the year. Bandito's been one of my favorite wrestlers of the year, period. And FTR are just a fantastic tag team. It doesn't even need to be said, does it? This was an awesome match. I have no notes. It goes to a time limit draw. So the Hurt Syndicate will be facing Brodito and FTR at Forbidden Door. It will not be one-on-one, which is fine with me. It's really just, so they can get the titles off of Hurt Syndicate without them taking a pin, in all honesty. That's okay. I think the titles should change here. I really wouldn't mind seeing them go to Brodito. I think FTR have a few things going on with Adam Copeland, so I don't think they're going to get the titles there. It seems like we're still getting ready for an Adam Copeland and Christian Cage match at All Out. So it doesn't seem like the play is to crown FTR. But at the same time, the Hurt Syndicate aren't actively elevating those titles or adding much to the division, and I think it's time to kind of dethrone them. So I really would love to see Brodito get it done at Forbidden Door. I thought Jet Speed should have won the titles at All In. Obviously, it didn't happen, but we're in a position where we have another couple of over baby faces that they can crown with those tag team championships, and I think they should take it with Brodito. They're an awesome team. And I think they should take their opportunity and just crown them. Right up next, we get the penultimate angle of the show. Hangman Adam Page, he comes out to the ring. He cuts a promo. I think Tony Schiavone was interviewing him. And MJF, his opponent at Forbidden Door, pops up on the Titantron. And behind him is Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. And below them is Mark Briscoe, who is tied up. He has duct tape around his mouth and duct tape around his wrists. And MJF is basically saying, look, Hangman, if you don't change the terms of our match, I'll take a lighter to him and I'm going to light him on fire. And he poured gasoline all over Mark Briscoe and he threatened to burn Mark Briscoe alive. It was pretty over the top, honestly. It was devious in a very fun way. He says that one of the main terms of the match that he wants to change is that this is actually not him cashing in his contract. This is not him using his contract that he won it All in the Casino Gauntlet match. Instead, this is just a match for the AEW World Championship, and afterwards, win or lose, he will retain, or I guess not win, but you know what I mean. He will retain his contract and can still use it. So he gets up to count. He counts 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do it, Hangman, if you don't change the terms of this match. Hangman says, stop, I'll agree, and he runs backstage, and that's the end of the segment. So the terms of the Forbidden Door match get changed from this is MJF cashing in his contract to now he's not cashing in his contract. For me, a few things came to mind here. I thought this was a very over-the-top angle, but I thought it was very fun in a devious way. I think it's very on brand for MJF to do something like this. And, given the fact that Hangman burned down Swerve's house, this is a nice little callback with fire and, kind of mind games with Hangman. So I enjoyed this. I thought it was fun. If you thought it was over the top, if you thought it was a little too much in terms of, believability or whatever, I just say that that's okay. It's okay to feel that way. But in my opinion, it functioned just fine for what it had to achieve, which was change the terms of the match, do a little mind games on Hangman, and act as sort of a kind of headlining go-home angle for this program. So I thought it worked completely fine. Definitely over the top, but I had fun with it. Main event was very good. Toni Storm is just incredibly over. She's a ball of energy. And so I really enjoyed the main event. I love how Mercedes is finally a little bit rattled, right? Because since All In, we haven't really seen much change with Mercedes. We've just kind of seen the same version of her where she is cool and kind of calm and arrogant. It's just the same Mercedes as before All In. But everything shifts when she sees Toni Storm. She gets angry and bitter and just jealous. And so I like the way that Mercedes is kind of bringing all that to the forefront. I think it's very well done, and it's the kind of stuff that we should be seeing from her. So great main event. It was also announced on this show that Bozilla from Stardom will be the 4th participant in the Mercedes Moné 4-way match at Forbidden Door for her TBS title. It is now Mercedes versus Alex Windsor versus Persephone versus Bozilla. If you have never seen Bozilla, I've seen one match of hers in Stardom, and it was her against Azumi. And if this is your first introduction to Bozilla, you're going to be in for a treat. Fantastic wrestler, and she has a very, very bright future. So, enjoyable show. With the exception of the FTR tag, honestly, it was a pretty basic show in ring-wise. It was more driven by kind of cherry on top angles and character driven segments. We got one of my favorite tag team matches of the year. Good respect to character continuity. It was an enjoyable couple of hours. I really do appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, guys. See you.